Hello beautiful people, I'm RaishPhoenix, and in today's video I want to talk about respecting others versus making yourself small. These past couple of days, weeks, I feel like just leading up to Mercury retrograde, I've been experiencing a lot of resurfacing of old emotions, things that I haven't thought of for years, things that I had forgotten I even experienced or felt certain things, and I recently felt a resurfacing of something that I used to feel a lot in high school and college mostly. Being a freshman, sophomore, even junior, I felt like I shouldn't take up a lot of space. Like, I should always have respect for seniors in a way that I should either tone myself down, make myself less visible, shut up and listen kind of attitude, kind of like they're right any in anything. Like, they're right, they know better than me because they're older than me and because they're seniors. And it wasn't until I became a senior myself, both in high school and in college, where I felt like there was finally enough space for me, enough room for me to express what I feel, to talk more. It's weird even speaking on this because sometimes it's literally just, it's all internal. It's not that from the outside you would kind of know this about me, or maybe you would, because honestly I am shy and I am introvert, so I'm always sticking to myself. Like, I don't really, I'm over my quarter, just being comfortable. But I feel like it wasn't until I was a senior where I started to make more of an effort to talk to people, that I felt like it was okay to talk to someone, where I felt like, I think I'm starting to get the hang of just like existing in the space of high school or just existing in the space of college. It felt like there's finally a moment for me to shine. It felt like any moment prior to that wasn't justified by my experience in life. It wasn't justified by anything. Like, I just felt like it was just better for me. I felt like it was just better for me to just not take up any space whatsoever, to just keep myself in my small little corner and just watch and observe everything else, and then when it was my turn as a senior, then I can shine. The way that this has been resurfacing in my current day life is that I've spoken on this in a couple of videos now, where I've been making a conscious effort to surround myself with more individuals who are just as passionate about pursuing their goals in life and just working hard towards it, like putting in the effort and seeing them actually achieve their goals. And that it's inspiring. It's an amazing thing to see. But then at the same time, like, that little insecure voice in my head comes out sometimes, and, well, maybe more than I'd like it to, maybe not sometimes, might be a lot, but the insecure voice comes out, and it starts saying, well, damn, like, look at all of them, like, accomplishing all these things. It's like, it may not just be one person, collectively, like, every other week making goals or accomplishing goals, but it's like I'm seeing a bunch of individuals collectively, goal after goal, met, and it's so dope to see. But then, like I said, at the same time, I'm realizing that I'm like, well, damn, like, what have I done, like, I don't know if I can really match these guys, like, I don't know, and with that coming into play, it's like I'm starting to feel like, obviously they worked so damn hard to get where they are at. And I'm realizing that there's a part of me that feels like because of the goals they've accomplished, there's no room for me to speak around them. Which I have to... let me explain that more, because I don't know if I said that correctly or in the clearest way possible. But I feel like when you're surrounded, or when I'm in particularly surrounded by individuals who have accomplished a lot, there isn't room for me to possibly or potentially teach them anything. There isn't room for me to maybe present a perspective that can help them. There isn't room for me to say anything to them in any way that can be helpful to them, because I feel like because they have held this position for so long and have worked and been through the experience to get to where they're at, that I'm just inferior. And that's something I want to change, because, like I said, it kind of plays back into how I used to feel in high school and in college, like, there was just no room for me to express myself, and that this kind of like bow down energy to anybody who's older than you or to anybody who's been in a space longer than you. And I have a very limited way of translating what respect means, because respect isn't and shouldn't be making yourself inferior to someone. I think respect comes in very different ways. That, you know, you can respect somebody by just listening to when they're talking. You can respect somebody by not invalidating their experience or questioning their experience when they tell you about it. You can know that something is important to somebody and not using it as a moment to make a joke or to make it seem less than what it means to that person. You know, I think that there's so many different examples of respect, and for some reason the most prominent example of respect in my mind has been making myself inferior to those who have accomplished a lot or who are older than me or who have been in a space prior to me. I'm actively working towards changing that because I'm blocking my blessings. I'm making myself less than, you know, that's just something that's very counterproductive to where I'm trying to be. Usually when moments like this arise within me, I'm like, okay, I need to think, where in my life is this coming from? You know, like, why am I thinking like this? Why do I believe that I'm inferior? Where's that coming from, you know? So I took some time to really just think, all right, like, let's reflect back on our early experiences in life and, you know, unlearn the trauma, figure out what the hell is going on. When I was younger, I remember that the idea of elders, or even just adults, anybody who's older than me, literally anybody who's older than me, the idea was that they know better than me. It's like the way respecting your elders was taught to me was in a way that I should always listen to what they say. I should do what they say without hesitation. And, you know, it's disrespectful to go against anything that they say, you know? The second they ask me to do something, it's like, do it. You're not allowed to say why you feel like you can't. It's like, even, let's say you're tired, you have a headache, you're sick. No, if they told you to do it, you go do it. You know, that was kind of the dynamic of it. There was never a meet them halfway. There was not a, do I have room to explain why I did other than what you said? It was just like, no, you did something wrong. You're getting yelled at. You're probably going to hear about it throughout the day, consecutively throughout the entire day, for 30 minutes, for an hour, for however long, to deal with just hearing this thing that you should have done not being done. It's just, you're going to hear about it for a while, you know? It's like there was no escaping doing something wrong. And by escaping, I mean, like, it was always dragged out. Like, looking back now, it's like it's dragged out. It's like, I get if I was approached directly and said, hey, and someone said to me, hey, like, you did this, when I asked you to do this, next time do this. It's like there was no clear communication. That's another thing. There was never really clear communication. It was always, do this, and then when it's not done, there was always a disproportionate amount of anger followed by the thing not getting done, which did lead to a lot of anxiety within me. Hence, me feeling like respecting elders means bowing down to them, because seeing an adult happy, I'm saying like this because it's not really happy, it's just not having to hear the yelling that followed not doing what was told was like a blessing over being yelled at. Because the yelling was insane, you know? Some examples I have of that, or some things that I remembered from what I've experienced, is that I remember I would be watching TV, and then let's say there's a commercial break, I get up, I get some toy from my room, I come back down to the TV, watching TV, episode ends, there's a commercial break, I go back upstairs, let's say I want to talk to a sibling or whatever. I remember being yelled at and being told to sit in one spot and that I shouldn't be moving up and down the stairs, and I'm walking up and down too much. So that already created a dynamic of you moving around, like you doing this thing, of you using your ability to move to one space to an area is pissing me off. So just stop, you know? And thinking back on that, like, that's crazy to me. That it's like, I get if maybe I'm walking up and down the stairs every 5 minutes, but I'm like, I don't know, like, looking back on that, like, I do see that there's potential for it to be annoying, but it's like, why am I getting yelled at and being told to stay in one place for going up and down the stairs? Like, why is there anger being directed towards me because of my ability to move my body? Another thing is whenever we were at a store, like, I remember that I would get pulled out of the way. So, like, let's say if we're in an aisle and, you know, maybe I'm not, so if this is the aisle, I don't even know how to show this. If this is the aisle, right, and right here is the middle, I'm standing right here and then the other person's standing here. Literally, I would get pulled over here because somebody is walking down the middle of the aisle as opposed to them just pushing their cart around me. You know, that happens so much. Like, just me being pulled out of the way. It's not like, hey, you're in the way. Or if there is even something said about, hey, you're in the way or watch your back or whatever, there's always like this pull of get over here. It's like I'm already being taught from a young age, you're in the way, get out of the way, you know? And it's crazy because I'm like, that person can clearly walk around me. Like, there's enough space opposite of where I'm at. Why do I have to literally make myself small for a customer walking by? Like, we're all customers in this situation. It's not like I'm a worker where I have my cart here, whatever. It's just like, no, we're all customers in the store. Why am I always in the way? Why am I always in the way? Why am I the one who has to move over? Why am I the one who's getting ganked like I don't know any better? Like, why? What's up with that, you know? Even with having my stuff outside of my room, because my room is very small. Like, my wall's right here. The door is right there. It's like, this isn't, like, guys, like, hello? Like, this is a very small room. So it's like, I don't have a lot of room, and it sucks because as an artist, artists have a lot of art supplies. Artists have a lot of paintings and a lot of stuff. It's like, I have a lot of stuff, and this is a small space. So of course I'm gonna have to put some of my stuff in other spaces in this house. And it sucks when I put my stuff in another space and somebody moves it without telling me directly and with also forgetting where they moved it. So when I ask where it is, they can't tell me, or they tell me, hey, it's wherever you put it. But it's not. It's never where I put it. And it's frustrating for me because it's like, imagine being conscious of the fact that this is, like, other than my room, like another space outside of my room. Imagine being aware of the fact that this is a large space and you put your stuff in a small corner. It's like you're already doing something. I'm already doing something. Let me be more specific. I'm doing something where I'm putting my stuff in a small space. I'm putting my stuff in a way in which I'm being considerate of other people and where they have to go, but also at the same time, I'm thinking about accessibility. I'm thinking about how easy is it for me to get these items if I put them here, or, you know, when I need this for a specific project, I want it to be accessible. I don't want to have to go digging behind things, but it's just like, it sucks when it's like, I take up such a small space in a large room and I'm still in the way. Somehow. Still in the way. Even with like having stuff in the fridge, it's like, there's so many, it's like 3 levels of shelves in the fridge, you know, taking up a back corner in the fridge, and my stuff still being in the way, being told to like move it somewhere else. And it's just like, you understand, like, imagine there being like, I don't know, 2 full shelves plus the 3rd quarter of the last shelf to themselves, and it's like, I get a quarter, and for some reason I'm still in the way. My stuff is still getting moved, put this way and wherever, and it's like, I'm not ever being spoken to directly about it, or if I am, it's after the fact that it's been moved. It's like my choice in these dynamics has been eliminated. It's never me being asked, hey, can you move out of the way? Or, hey, can you put your stuff over here? Or even if it is being asked, it's like, it's followed with some type of passive aggression where it's like, I'm telling you to move it because it's bothering me or it's annoying to me. And it's just like, okay, like, I would rather this be solved in a way where I'm meeting that person halfway, but for some reason, I'm always in the wrong. I'm always the one who's taking up too much space. I'm always the messy one. I'm always the person who should have done it differently. I'm always the person who doesn't know any better. Like, it's crazy how in every dynamic, it's like, I'm always in the wrong. And I'm not saying that in a way that, you know, I'm disregarding if I had done something wrong, because I'm big on accountability and I'm big on admitting when I screwed up, admitting when I did something wrong. But I don't know, it's crazy when you feel like, yeah, like literally people who make you responsible for their emotions, but when it comes to your emotions, invalid, wrong. You shouldn't feel that way. I've literally been told that I shouldn't feel a certain way when I've expressed that something that somebody had said to me had hurt me, and it's crazy how that dynamic works, how somebody can not know how to process their emotions, so they're always yelling. It's like there's no other way to express things that they're not okay with. It's either they're okay and they're cool, or they're just angry, like disproportionately angry. And being exposed to stuff like that throughout like my entire life leading up to now has definitely added to like the anxiety I feel on a regular basis, or a lot, you know, like maybe it's not every day I'm anxious, but I do get moments of anxiety. And there's definitely moments where I get caught up in the thought of something that I want to do, like first thinking about how others will react to it over what I'm doing that's best for me. And that's something, I'm sure I've touched on that in previous videos, that's something that's still difficult at times. And I'm getting better at. I definitely feel like I'm getting better at it, but it's difficult when you're doing something that's best for you and the first thought that crosses your mind is so-and-so going to be upset with me? Or, you know, who else is this going to hurt? At the root of all that is me as an individual being legit selfless. Like, I genuinely care about people. I genuinely care about others' emotions and being conscious of if my actions are ever causing harm to others, or just being considerate. But I have done that to a way that it does alter my ability to just do what's best for myself. And even just with those examples that I've given of what I've experienced, you know, that definitely puts a very huge weight of why I feel like it's my responsibility to manage or cater to the emotions of others, or even to feel like my emotions aren't valid, or to feel like there's something wrong with me if I need more than what somebody is capable of giving. I think that's another thing that I've seen a lot of examples of in my life, where there are people who egotistically like helping others. And I'm putting ego there because you know it's ego driven when they get upset with when you need more than what they're willing to give. It's like, let's say they get something for you and you say, you know, thank you, but, you know, I realize I need more of this or whatever. That's when it's like, oh, you're ungrateful. Why do you need more? What's wrong with you? There must be something wrong with you. I've literally heard people speak down on others and saying that things aren't working because they don't want them to. Like person A is saying about person B, I got something for person B, and if it's not working for person B, it's because person B doesn't want it to work, or you're a burden. You know, that's when that word gets brought up, you know, of being a burden, or, you know, downplaying how much help this person needs because person A was never in a position to help person B, you know? That's another crazy dynamic of what I've witnessed or I've seen just throughout life, you know? But at the same time, it does make me, you know, think of the importance of humanizing people, because as much as it hurts to see or witness or be around things like this, or to have it happen to you, I think it's important to realize that, like, for me personally, I believe that if people knew better, they'd do better. And the reason why I believe that is because if somebody really truly understood their actions, if they truly knew how much hurting others is hurting themselves, they wouldn't do it. At least that's what I want to believe. That's what I do believe, that they wouldn't do it, because even with the path that I walk now, I realized that there were certain things that I was doing, like I was playing into an idea of being a certain way, but I realized how much that was hurting myself and in turn going to hurt others, because I wasn't being my truest form. The idea of me always prioritizing the emotions of others over myself, it's like, it caused a lot of pain to stop doing that also. But I had to be honest with, okay, I maybe want to be there for you all the time. Maybe I do want to root for you all the time, but I can't. And I can't because it's like I have my own things in life that I have to go for. I have my own goals I need to achieve. I have my life to live, It's like I can't hold people's hands through life. As much as I'm rooting for them and cheering for them, it's just like, what about me? Like, when do I get to be rooted for? Like, when do I get to live my life? Like, is it okay to live my life now? Like, when do I get to prioritize myself? Because I've been responsible for the emotions of everybody up until this point in my life where I've now made the change, But when it comes to the dynamic of just humanizing the people that do that, I know that deep down it's not personal because somebody else in their life treated them that way. And that's why I stress the importance of unlearning trauma, because literally it's generational pain getting passed down. It's just like somebody in their life didn't know how to deal with their emotions and just took it out on people, including that individual. And now that that person has grown up, they don't have the skills or even like the emotional intelligence to understand how to express their emotions. So instead, when anything comes up in life that is triggering or is undesired, they react the same way the person who hurt them did, because they don't know what else to do. All they know is anger. All they know is how to express anger. All they know is how to make others like responsible for that emotion. It's like crazy to me, because it's like sometimes what I've witnessed is that people can yell about somewhere not being clean, but then at the same time not have the ability to organize things. Like, they literally can't organize things. Or people can stress the importance of communication, but at the same time not know how to communicate. And it's just like, what? It's like humans are so contradicting, where it's just like that contradiction, the gap that is happening that there is no bridge for, it's like that. Like, I see that happening, that contradiction is happening because there has been some type of area of trauma that has never been unlearned. It's just like, what? It's like what you're doing is you're constantly putting the responsibility on somebody else. But when you look at your trauma and you unlearn and you re-teach yourself how to deal with these things, that's when the healing starts. That's when there's more clarity. That's when your life improves. That's when all these moments in your life that have been repetitive, you keep wondering, why does this keep happening to me? You gotta look deep inside and see what's going on. And it's not easy. Because like I said, remembering all those things that happened to me, like sometimes it's like, I feel like it's a past life because I've done so much work to not have moments like that in my life anymore. I've done so much emotional work to heal from my trauma, to unlearn it. So when I have moments of trauma that resurface in this new version of myself and this new perspective that I have in my life, I'm like, when the hell did that happen? Like, what? Like, huh? Like it's crazy even thinking about those things. And it's hard to think about those things. It's like, I don't want to think about that, But I think that we have to unlearn those stuff because it will resurface in other things. Even for me, When it comes to the way I work on my art, I've seen prominent changes of like when I unlearn certain parts of my trauma and I heal from it. I've seen how it helps with my art. Like I've spoken on this in the past where I used to prioritize getting things done over my health. I became literally a workaholic where simple things like working on my art, and if I had to use a bathroom, I'd be like, no, just finish this little part of the drawing. Or even if I didn't feel good, and the dynamic of going to work, it's just like, oh, you don't feel good? If you can still stand up and whatever, you're going to work. It's like I was overworking myself and I was limiting myself. So the way that I was limiting myself, even with working on my art, it's like I thought there was a specific way for me to finish my art, and anything that deviated from that wasn't the right way to do it. It's just like I should be able to get this pose right without using that many references, or I should be able to draw this thing by just looking specifically at this one picture. It's like limitations were coming up in so many different parts of my life, things that didn't seem related, but in some way all related to the trauma. When you reach that place in your life where you're able to see how these things are connected and to be more conscious of not taking things personally, I feel like that is definitely the start of a new beginning. Humanizing people that have caused me a lot of pain in my life has definitely helped me deal with, or made the healing process a little bit more obtainable. Because at the end of the day, we're not always going to get an apology from the people that have hurt us. And even then, I think it hurts even more to get an apology and for them to continue the action. Which is why in a lot of spaces, I don't even know if it's worth bringing up the issues I have, because an apology is just a word. You know, like I need changed action. I need to know that my boundaries are going to be respected. I need to know that that individual gets how harmful their actions are and will apply change to that. And a lot of people, or a lot of my experiences have been an individual continuing the action on top of saying sorry. And that means nothing to me. You know, it's like you're just going to keep doing the same thing. But from humanizing those individuals and realizing that they're not going to change, you know, and from realizing that the way they act is because of what they've been through, or because of something that they're going on within their life that's not personal, it makes it a little bit easier to let go of the pain. It makes it a little bit more like, okay, they treated me this way. I know I deserve better, but at the same time, I can step back and say, you know, this is an individual going through their own experience in life, and if I choose to, I can separate myself from them. I can create distance between myself and that individual. I can focus on what I can do to make myself feel healthier or safer in this dynamic. But, you know, kind of let go of whatever it is within me that feels personally like I'm being attacked, you know? And also there's that dynamic of the fact that maybe it just takes people longer to realize what they're doing. You know, like I can tell somebody today, ow, this hurts, but it's not until the next 50 people that they've hurt say, ow, this hurts, that they're finally like, oh, is this thing I'm doing painful? It's like, why didn't you listen the first time? Like, that frustrates me so much, which is like, are you serious? Like, it's crazy to me how, I don't know, people learn at different rates. It is what it is, but at least at the end of the day, I can heal from my trauma, and I can look back at things, and I can be understanding of what's going on and share it with the world and hope that it initiates healing in other people, you know? But back to the dynamic of respect. The way I've been taught respect in a lot of the earlier experiences in my life is that respect often looks like being inferior. And I no longer want to hold on to that idea. I want to be around healthier versions of respect and to hold myself to the same, you know, level as those that I respect. I need to make sure that I'm just conscious of the moments in which my intention is to make myself smaller in order to respect somebody. You know, I think that's something I really need to be more aware of, to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then be like, whoa, 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 hold on, Raish Phoenix, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You know, like to be like, okay, I'm doing this. Is this intention to make yourself smaller? Maybe. Okay, don't do that. Then don't do that. We're not doing that anymore. Stop cutting that off. I'm not doing it, you know? So I definitely have to check my intentions to be more thorough about what I'm thinking about before I follow through with an action. I think also just being, specifically for me, like I don't know for other people, because like I said, the examples in my earlier life have played a very big part in my perspective of certain things, like respect. So I need healthier examples of that and to see that. So definitely making a conscious effort to surround myself with individuals who respect each other and seeing how they show respect to each other definitely helps me with my ability to be like, this matches the energy I want in my life, or, oh, here's an example of what respect looks like without either party making themselves feel inferior to show it, Even allowing myself to take up space or to create my own space or using my voice is another thing that I know I can and want to get better at doing, because I realize, like, for example, let's say the pandemic wasn't pandemicking, right? And let's say I was somewhere with a group of people at a particular person's house, and let's say that person is having a get-together, like this is a day that's special to them, and the first thing they do is they sit all of us down, they're like, so how are you guys doing? I'm not answering that. Like, even saying that is ridiculous. It's like, the reason why I wouldn't answer that is because let's say, the only way I would answer that is if nobody else says anything. But if other people start talking and they start getting into other topics, the reason I wouldn't answer how I'm doing or how everything has been going is because I feel like I'm making it about me. I feel like it's disrespectful for me to suddenly be like, well, I'm working on this drawing. Well, it's like I'm throwing up these, like, word vomit. Like, I'm having this moment of spilling all these things that I've been going through. And if deep down I know that this get-together is about them or is for them or is important to them, I'm less likely to say anything because I don't want to take the attention off of them. It's like, I'm here to do a support. I'm here to support you. I'm doing a support. This is about you. I'm here for you, so it's like I'm less likely to say anything, but I'm learning that it's okay to say how I'm feeling. It's okay for me to express in a group of people. If it is asked, how are you all doing? It is okay for me to say, well, I'm this or well, I'm that, because I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, well, I know you asked it, but is this a generic how are you? Because a lot of people in my life have said, how are you to me? And when I say I'm not doing that well, they're like, well, I hope you feel better. Let me tell you 10 days worth of what happened to me. And it's like, I've experienced too many moments in my life where the how are you is just generic, and it's just a moment for that person to not feel as bad about just talking about themselves for the next 30 minutes, hour, or whatever, and to never really truly take myself, like me, into consideration in that conversation. So I'm realizing that I could do a better job at expressing myself in spaces, because I kind of don't, but also I'm shy and I'm introvert, so it's just like, no, I'm good. I don't have anything to say, so I don't know. Again, the intent. It's like I just need to check my intent. I need to make sure that I'm not making myself small or digestible for a collective of people versus just reading the room, Like, that's another thing, reading the room and just respecting the boundaries of others and allowing that to dictate how respectful I am in a space versus feeling like automatically I'm inferior. Let me just sit down. Let me not say anything. Let me not do anything. Like, I can definitely change that. Another thing is being around others who speak just as consciously as I do. I feel like sometimes when I'm around that, I'm like, yes, finally somebody who gets it. Finally somebody who thinks on the same frequency as me. I love that. Chef's kiss. Perfect, right? But then I start to have this moment of like, they got it. I don't gotta say nothing. They got it. They got it. Me? Nope. Not say anything. y'all got it. So that's another thing, like feeling like there's no space for me to speak anymore because others get it, you know, like I think a bunch of people can say the same thing, but sometimes it's because of the way somebody else worded it, why it actually clicks with somebody. And I need to make sure that I don't play down what I have to say, or I don't say anything at all just because I feel like somebody said it before and now there's no space for me to speak on it either. Even when it comes to the dynamic of making space for myself, I know it's definitely important to continue making videos like this because I can't even, for as long as it serves me, that is, because in a lot of areas in my life in the past, I have been spoken over, cut off, corrected. It's just like made fun of. It's just like there's always been these moments in which happen consecutively, frequently, to the point that I thought there was no value in what I would say. It's like if I never started a YouTube channel, hence making space for myself, if I never started a YouTube channel, I would have never realized that there's value in what I say, or it maybe would have taken me longer to realize that because other spaces never really made me realize that. Even when it comes to just me being a digital illustrator, a makeup enthusiast, a cosplayer, I think that there's definitely this dynamic on social media, depending on which platform you're dominantly on. There's definitely this pressure to be producing whatever it is that you do frequently and well and all the time, but it's just like that we're human, you know, we're not robots, and it's very difficult, especially if you're just one person doing all these things. It's very difficult to do those things in that way. And it's like some of us just work differently. Some of us work on a specific schedule. Some of us have certain things going on in our life that play a part in what we're doing, whether it may be ourselves or others. You know, there are just other factors. There's so many other things going on outside of that space where we're sharing things. So I think even that, and acknowledging my natural flow, like acknowledging that I have to be even more conscious of how I create my space and creating it, definitely plays a big part in my dynamic with respect for myself, you know? I think the respect, you know, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think that the respect that I have for others, it's time that I finally match that for myself. And it's time that I stop allowing respect to look like me being inferior. Overall, I know I definitely need to be a watcher of my intent behind my actions, just being conscious of when I'm making myself small or when I'm surrounded by others who make me feel like I should make myself small, because a lot of the people that did make me feel that way are others who have always been controlling what I do, where I feel like in that dynamic they thought they were doing what's best for me, or they thought that they were teaching me habits that may have, in their opinion, been what's best in life, or whatever the case may be. But it's just like I've been surrounded by too many individuals who like to kind of police what I do, tell me how I should have done something, tell me how I should have said something, and it's like all of that has played into the idea of what respect looks like when I was younger. So being around others now and consciously making an effort to surround myself with others who uplift me and make me feel like where I'm at is okay, you know, that I feel validated in all the things that I'm pursuing, and just being enough, you know, people that make me feel like I'm enough right now has definitely played into my emotional well-being and just helping me with feeling encouraged in the healing that I'm doing, even if they don't directly know about it, but just helping me to see other examples of what respect can look like. You know, also just being aware of the fact that there may have been things that were survival tactics in earlier parts of my life that now that I'm transitioning into a healthier state, I can let go of those things, you know? I think there are certain things that we do to protect ourselves when we're younger or before in other parts of our life where literally that moment was just, that's what we needed to do. But I think once you're out of something like that, that's important to realize, you know, I don't need to act like this anymore. Like now I'm around people who make me feel safe. Now I'm around people who communicate to me clearly and are on the same frequency as me, so I don't have to be as on edge or feel anxiety in all my actions or to question myself, you know? Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.